Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you guys about standardized testing because it is such a controversial thing in education. So I thought I would start out with this cartoon, which I thought is pretty hilarious. You want to read yourself. So you're educated in the public school system. What does that qualify you to do? Answer: is that a multiple choice, true, false, or fill in the blank question? So basically, this cartoon is making fun of the fact that public schools are often geared towards taking standardized tests because how public schools are often measured on how well they're doing at teaching is basically just by standardized testing these days. You know, schools get a grade, at least in Florida, schools get a grade, and then if they get an A grade, they're rewarded with extra funding, which causes a lot of controversy. So I wanted to get you guys' opinions about standardized testing.
I have mixed feelings about standardized testing just because both my parents were teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, I've always heard about people in their classroom making sure that their teaching and their lessons are reflecting about what might be on the FCAT.
Mm-hmm.
And standardized testing for me failed me. Not necessarily that it failed me, but just because I struggled so bad and I get bad anxiety to where I may know the material if someone asks me, but being pressured with time and certain days and being the last one done, so to speak, it was not for me. My results were poor.
Mine was the same way. When it came to standardized testing, FCAT, things like that, I knew the material. I could do the material, but when it comes to the test and then like with the time, I felt like my scores reflected poorly, but it didn't reflect what I truly knew about the material. My grades in school were great. Like I knew the material taught in the class, but when it came to the actual test, and I don't know if it was like maybe the pressure, the time, knowing that you're like in a classroom with several other people taking this exam, I think that just like threw me off, and I ended up doing poorly on the exams, or at least not failing, but I didn't do as well as people expected me to do.
Yeah, and it's interesting to look at it from different people's perspectives. Like from you guys as a student's perspective, and if you try to take the perspective of a teacher, like how do you guys think it might affect a teacher? Like these rigorous standardized tests that they have to prepare their students for. What do you guys think?
Well, how does that affect the teachers?
Yeah. How does it affect like what they like their teaching plan and their teaching style?
I think it affects them from year to year because a veteran teacher now, so to speak, is teaching completely different how they taught 5 to 10 years ago. Just because with the evaluation plans and people always in their classroom making sure that they are teaching the material that students need to pass. Because I think that's the main concern right now. I think the concern is getting students to pass, not necessarily the students knowing the material.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it hurts the teacher because she may know that her students know the information. She sees it in their classroom, but when it comes to this exam, they might do as poorly as I did. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's the time, maybe it's the way the question's worded, than how the teacher is showing it. So it has an effect on both the student and the teacher, and like I said, the teacher might know that the student knows the information. She's comfortable moving on with the subject, but these exams may reflect differently.
Well, think about after FCAT. I mean, to get bonuses and certain amounts of pay, it's in school grades. It's based on student performance. I mean, what if you have that student that just does not care and comes to school because their mom made them and they just sat there and Christmas treed the whole thing? Like, that affects the teacher's bonus, you know?
Yeah.
And job, too.
Exactly. Job security.
For not producing the good results.
Yeah. Do you think, it can affect a also just like the teacher's well-being, like, and you know, the enjoyment that they get out of their job. Because I mean, personally, I feel like it would take away from the creativity that they can bring to the classroom. You know, they can only like do so much creatively when, you know, there's all these different ways of teaching, but if they don't align well with just the standardized testing, then like you can't even do that, you know? What do you guys think?
Well, I think for teachers having to bring home like for example, an English teacher loads of essays and reading materials and springboard stuff day after day to give that feedback back to their students to know if they're even doing it right. I mean, my mom's blessed to have advanced and really gifted students that she's teaching. I mean, she's not teaching, you know, lower level students. Like her students are actually able to grasp it, but she still has just as much work as any other. No, but I can definitely see the well-being of a teacher dropping for sure.
I mean, that also goes into play. Like teachers create a lesson plan, and if students aren't getting it or they are getting it, and then these exams say that they're not, it can also it can also have a negative impact on how teachers are feeling. They might not feel like they're adequate teachers. Mm-hmm. They might not feel that they're doing their job well when they actually are. Their classrooms show that they are, but these exams say that they're not.
Yeah.
So it's very I don't want to say like hypocritical, but it's very like a push and pull kind of thing. Like, yeah. And it could have a negative impact on their emotion. Mm-hmm. It would be an emotional roller coaster on them.
Yeah. So, do you guys know of any possible ways to fix this problem? I mean, if, say, standardized testing were to be taken away, I mean, what could replace it? It's a hard question, which is why I think standardized testing is still around.
I mean, I know it's time consuming, but like observation, like seeing from the beginning of the semester, setting goals, setting objectives for each individual student, sitting down, seeing where they're at on their levels and where you want to see them at the end, and then observing it throughout the time, like having one-on-one communications with them, seeing what they're struggling with, and just honestly keeping data, keeping record of how the students are doing in the classroom, on exams, on homeworks, and seeing in the end if they actually are retaining the information that you're giving them, and if they're achieving their goals. I mean, obviously each goal will be different on students, but and it'd be more time consuming, but I think that'll in the end have a better impact rather than have an exam that every student has to take. So right there, it's you're pretty much making everyone equal. You're making, when honestly everyone is at a different level.
Definitely. That's definitely a good like possible way that standardized testing could be taken away and replaced in an effective way. Thanks for talking about standardized testing today.